up, guys? Hello?
Yes.
What's up? Off the cuff on the radio.
Off the cuff radio, the building, King Eric, what's good?
What's good with you?
Lovely radio show. How you doing?
I'm good. We wanted to just chop it up tonight. You know, y'all had me on the show. Thank you for having me on.
No problem.
So introduce yourself and tell everybody about your show. You know, we want to get into some of this Nate Dogg loveliness, so we definitely want to chop it up with you and send some of these lovely listeners over your way.
Appreciate it. Well, start things off. My name is King Eric, and we run Off the Cuff Radio alongside my co-host T Mac, still on the same man from the Bronx, Miss Chiller from Paxton. We think we have a four-way thing going on.
Okay.
And I also did a deal with Black Poet, and we're going to be doing Streetball Radio, showing love to hardcore hip-hop from the East Coast. We're going to start that show in September. So we just been pretty much been keeping things circulating with the radio circle because that's where hip-hop lives, is the underground.
Yeah, that's right. That's right, and you've been keeping your posts on things, you know what I mean? How do you guys pick who's going to be on the show?
Well, first of all, it also depends on who has work ethic, first of all, and who's also good. But there's always a lot of dope MCs out there, dope singers. There's always a lot of dope producers. And it's just that sometimes we just need that, they just need that one break.
Yeah.
They just need that one shot.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and
you know, Jada can hear the line, like there's always a guy that's just enjoying just didn't get that break. There's always a lot of, like, there's got the next month, the next thing, there's always one of them out there. It's just a matter of us using our platform to shine light on them.
Yeah, and to show that, you know, somebody hears you, you know, because at the end of the day, it's about having confidence, but if you're doing so much work and nobody's listening and all of that, it doesn't do anything for your confidence. So you're giving new artists in the underground, you know, an outlet. And, you know, I'm sure it's a lot of artists who appreciate that. I mean, what kind of artists are you getting? Are you, you know, worldwide with it?
Hip-hop artists, R&B artists, inspiring poets, movie producers, filmmakers. There's going to be a variety of range of our show.
Excellent.
And I also wanted to, we just recently started to do wrestlers and boxers, and you know, we trying to tap into the sports world as well because they have stories as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Not just into music. We was on the phone for like 2 hours. You would never know that we had so much to talk about. That's crazy.
I'll tell you, the universe is dynamic.
Yeah, that's for sure. It's dope though to have, you know, people aware of what you're doing. You know what I mean? If you wasn't aware of my, you know, humble beginnings to where I was and to where I am now, I couldn't really feel like it was, you know, a conversation. It would feel more like an interview. That 2 hours was definitely a conversation, you know?
That's what it is, because, you know, one thing about me is that I don't like the term interview because, you know, when you go interview, you think it, some cornball asking you redundant questions.
Yeah.
It's kind of like going on a job interview. Nobody likes interviews.
No, and to talk about that too a little bit, because I listened to a couple of the shows, and I was just surprised that sometimes people spew the wrong information. Is it funny to you? Because sometimes, to me, as a radio host now, you know, always as a critic, as an MC, because I get your ass on the song. I'm not going to argue back and forth with you, but when people spew the wrong information, how do you handle that, you know, on your show? Do you get people to say, well, they said the wrong thing, you know?
Well, sometimes I look at it like this. I take a back seat and I make it more so about their people.
Mm-hmm.
Like what I do is, if somebody disagree with, I let the public perception make that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like getting myself too much involved because really it's not, they don't really want to hear me. They want to hear what the guest got to say. You know what I'm saying? So I let them get that off. And plus, if they want that smoke, hey, look, let the public perception handle it.
Exactly,
you know
exactly. But that's why, as a host on Lovely Radio, I feel like I want to bring people on that's knowledgeable about what they're doing. I don't want the middleman. I don't never want to talk to the middleman when I'm dealing with my music either. You know what I'm saying? I want to talk to the artist. I want to talk to who's in charge of the music actually coming out, if it goes to that point. But just being active with 3 other people on your show, you know, how much of a percentage is everybody working?
Everybody pretty much on the same page. One thing you gotta learn, like, when you're a leader, you gotta set the example.
Exactly, yep.
You gotta set the example, and most likely the case, we're gonna have disagreements, but you know, this ain't church.
No, and it's good to have different opinions. That's not the problem. You know, people's work ethic is really, at the end of the day, what it's about, you know.
And there's an instance where sometimes we just have to, we've had people that want to do marketing work and they didn't cut it because, you know, the work that isn't there. But one thing I learned is it's all about work ethic at the end of the day. Work ethic is what opens up doors.
Yeah, your work ethic is really, to me, at the end of the day. I know I'm not going to flake on myself. So I have to work as hard as I want to live. You know what I'm saying? Is I want things to go a certain way. I have to push forward, and that energy is so powerful. You realize it? When other people not on that same shit, they be thinking you glowing. They be thinking you floating. It's like, no, I'm just handling my business, really, you know?
Exactly. It's just a matter of putting all the pieces together in one place. And the work attitude is what makes you stand out. Like, you can have all the best guests, but you know, if you're not working to get your stuff heard, then it's not really working.
Exactly. Well, I just want to make sure they know where to go to find out how to get on the show, or how to submit music, or just, you know, find your pages. So please give us some details on all the platforms you're on.
Okay, where do I start? For most people, just check my government name at Eric Massenberg on Facebook. Or you can check my sister, April Holmes, on Facebook. You can DM her. And you can check the Off the Cuff Radio's Instagram page.
Yeah.
You can DM us there. It will respond most likely in a day or two. We're not going to let it linger for too long unless you're whack.
See, you got to do your research. You understand? Sometimes people be thinking we leaving you in the DM. No, we're going to do some research on who the hell showed up in here.
And I tell people too, you got to make sure you have your best material. Make sure you have the EPK. Yeah. Solid following, so we know what we're talking about, what we're building off of, because we get a lot of requests regularly. Yeah,
that's good. And you know, when he's saying bring your A game, that means don't bring the song that you think is not mixed. If it's mixed and mastered, we good. What's up, Saint? And if you want to even really impress us, have it available on YouTube and Spotify, and where we can go and grab it ourselves. And that way you won't have to say what mix is what. Whatever you put out is what you actually should be proud of and should be the final mix. So yeah, that's what he's saying.
Yeah, I have to repeat on that. When y'all tracks properly mixed, because y'all be having some
man.
tracks just to be sloppy looking, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm like, no, if I can't go and get it off iTunes and find it myself, I'm not gonna play it. Because I don't want to have it on my show. It's just not going down. And you need to go back to the drawing board. If people are not playing it, that means your music is not up to par yet, you know? Or your craft is not up to par. If you're not being, asked to come on different shows, people are interested in following what's going on. And not just the hype of the negativity. We want to know how people are doing and if they're doing good, you know?
Yeah, I would also suggest, too, is also, instead of bringing one song, bring a mixtape.
Bring yours. Bring it.
Yeah, it's like, you'd be surprised at how far that gets people in the door. Instead of just bringing one song, bring them 5.
Like you said, the EPK, bring your bio so people know where you're from and all of that stuff. When we come across a song that we really like, we want to have a lot of information on you. And you should have the follow-up information if somebody likes your song and is playing it. So yeah, this is good intel for me. Thanks. You know what I'm saying? That's why I had to bring you on. Game alone. I had to bring you on.
Yes, I like the energy of this show right here. I mean, we building on different frequencies here.
And that's what we have to do. our podcast, and people are doing so many podcasts on different levels, but I feel like it's a lot of gossip going on. In this show, we want to teach you how to, get into the music process, because once you get to the radio, you should already know a bunch of things. But there are a lot of artists who don't. And I applaud people who ask questions. So if you ask me a question about how did I get my music played here and there, I will tell you, because obviously you're getting ready to invest in yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so this investment is great. So how do you feel about, these new artists that's out now? What's happening with the industry?
Well, I'm going to be real, and this may sound like a different answer versus how a lot of people would. Well, hearing a lot of new artists is what brings energy to us, because we like hearing new voices and new sounds and new creativity and new production, because everything evolves within time.
It has to. I mean, even as a person, you have to evolve. You can't stay in the same place. Those are not even the same things, Everybody grows up, so you have to take
now,
it to the
mainstream,
next level.
however, that's not my cup of tea anyway. I'm not really, it's like, okay, that's good.
That's robotic shit. Those are the bots. Those are trained actors who are, in contract to do a certain thing. So, yeah, you're right. It's certain people who I'm even talking about. I'm not talking about people who don't own their music, On this show, we're not talking about the signed slaves. We're talking about the owners of their own intellectual property. And that's why we're having this conversation, because most people will, not understand. Like, we're not even talking about your mainstream, the ones who they bleed all the time. When somebody gets bled all the time, that means somebody else is getting checked. Okay?
Exactly. see, another thing too is, when people say the young people in hip hop, they usually associate that with the mainstream, because that's what the mainstream caters to. But there's so much hungry talent out there that just ain't getting put
and all over the world. I get submissions all the time, and they are very dedicated, and we have to give them props. Give them props.
Like, we had some people that did some work from Russia. These dudes go hard. So I was like, wow. I'm not traveling over there to go see what they talk about, but y'all can send me that EPK.
Okay, that's right. And that's easy. Look, that's easy. We can play the music. We just not traveling. So how are you guys keeping it safe with the 6 feet and all of that, and everybody wearing their masks?
Absolutely. What we do, we have a strategy on how we do it. Like, we take our shower as soon as we leave the premises, as soon as we leave work. We spray everything. We should even spray the food. Not spray like in the food, but boxes and all that stuff. We don't keep all these. Basically, our lives consists of going to work, shopping, and going back home right now.
As usual, shopping.
You ain't gonna see me at the club with no mask on. I'm not gonna be pouring no Henny out on nobody right now. I'm not even gonna make the time for that.
Okay. Well, yeah, at the end of the day, you gotta stay safe.
First, when you call for me, I'm just gonna get paranoid off the gate.
Well, I'm glad you came through, loved one. I appreciate all my loved ones. Tonight, we got a Nate Dogg, mix in Love Mix right now. So we trying to get back into the Nate Dogg before our hour is up. And I want you to tell me. Oh, yeah, it was his birthday yesterday. I just played. Yeah. Oh, yeah, you got to go back and rewind the show once we get off. You know what I'm saying? So you can hear some of the music. I actually dropped one of the ones I have with him. That's one of my new albums. So we going back into the Love Mix. Tell them one more time off the cuff where to find you, so that we can make sure.
You can also find our shows on YouTube, because we get the YouTube problems going on. So you can check out shows, social commentary. We got new music posted up there from a lot of people. Check out the Off the Cuff Radio YouTube page. You can check us out on Instagram. You can check me out on Facebook. And you can check out the new show that we're starting with Screwball Radio with my man Black Poet and Comment from Screwball. That's New York City. So we're going to be airing that probably in the beginning of the fall. Okay. We're going to have 2 shows in the rotation. Represent that raw hip hop.
Yeah.
Represent that First Biscuits. You know what I'm saying? We're taking it back grimy out there.
appreciate you giving us that intel. You know what I'm saying? Off the cuff radio right here on the Lovely Radio Show. And we're going right back in the Lovely Mix with our Nate Dogg tribute. Yeah, you know it's your girl, Ms Toi, on the Lovely Radio Show.